Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, April 6th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect mostly cloudy skies with a high of 88 degrees in San Antonio today. Temperatures will break 90 degrees this week for the first time this year, according to the National Weather Service. Yesterday, Minneapolis Police Chief Medaria Arradondo testified on day 6 of the Derek Chauvin murder trial that the now-fired officer violated departmental policy in pressing his knee on George Floyd's neck and keeping him down. Today, Bexar County commissioners will take up issues related to COVID-19 testing in schools, pandemic recovery, and a lawsuit involving the 2019 death of a jail inmate. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. As businesses and professional sports organizations boycott states that adopt restrictive voting legislation, Republicans in Texas are fighting back. Governor Greg Abbott turned down an invitation to throw out the Texas Rangers' first pitch at their home opener, a punishment for Major League Baseball's decision to move its annual All-Star game out of Atlanta over statehouse changes to voting rules there. No major businesses or sports league have called for boycotts of Texas, where Republicans in Austin last week advanced voting restrictions similar to those issued in Georgia. Texans would have much more to lose if the sports leagues were to take it a step further. Already, groups are putting pressure on the NCAA to come out against the Texas legislation. Jeremy Wallace has a report on the latest over at expressnews.com. Sunny temperatures in the 90s, no real rain in sight. Sounds like late June in San Antonio. Only it's early April, and drought conditions are bad enough that the Edwards Aquifer Authority is looking to conserve water by limiting pumping from the aquifer, the main water source for the region. The San Antonio water system, the biggest municipal pumper from the aquifer, was already in Stage 1 restrictions, meaning residents and businesses are allowed to water outdoors just once a week with sprinklers. The restrictions actually have been in place since October 16th. Scott Huddleston takes a closer look at the restrictions and what we might face this summer in his latest article. Every weekday morning in a stark concrete multi-purpose room in the Alamodome's basement, Belinda Maynor sits behind 2 computing monitors and a plastic shield and becomes a frontline worker in San Antonio's fight against COVID-19. Maynor calls people who recently tested positive for the coronavirus and asks them, confidentially, to disclose who they've been in contact with. Equal parts calming counselor and dogged investigator, she's a contact tracer, one of some 130 now active in the city. You can read about the challenges of the position and why Maynor sought the stressful emotional role in Bruce Selcraig's latest article. Columnist Elena Ayala writes, quote, "All over San Antonio, cautious gatherings were held by people hopeful, if bruised, and grateful to have survived. A year of precaution paid off, but the global pandemic isn't over. In parts of the country, infections are up. Some experts warn a 4th wave is coming, and vaccinations have yet to reach communities of color in significant numbers. Still, while San Antonians continue fighting COVID-19, enough progress has been made to gather for lunch outdoors." Check out Elena Ayala's full column for more on the glorious gathering over at expressnews.com. Through the Texas Public Health Vaccine Scheduler, Texans can create a profile to place themselves on a statewide wait list for the vaccine. A day after individuals enter their personal information and preferred appointment times, the state will match them with the next available appointment in their home county. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. You might have heard of Scott Willoughby, who had $19,033 charged to a Visa credit card for his light bill in the wake of Winter Storm Uri. He paid it. Military bases in Texas got monster electric bills too, and your tax dollars are paying those. The pandemic dealt a devastating blow to companies already struggling with hefty debt loads and shoppers' changing preferences. Take a closer look at how the coronavirus pandemic accelerated change in retail, and there may be no going back. No new COVID-19 deaths were reported over the weekend in the San Antonio area, and the spread of the disease remained low. Metro health officials said 2 people who contracted the virus after getting the vaccine did not have severe cases. Bethel AME Church is partnering with San Antonio Metropolitan Health to provide COVID-19 vaccinations as it strives to help the underserved population on the east side and ease mistrust about the vaccine in the Black community. A small San Antonio maker of protective equipment worn by service members and troops blamed the resurgence of COVID-19 late last year and February's winter storm for pushing it into bankruptcy. Microsoft plans to expand its data center operations in the far west side. A $140 million facility in the Texas Research Park, which is about 5 miles west of Loop 1604, is expected to be finished in 2022. Activity in Texas's struggling service industry accelerated in March at its fastest pace since mid-2019 as visitors returned to hotels and restaurants and businesses recovered from February's winter storm, according to a survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. Energy consumption in the United States plunged last year by the largest amount on record as the global pandemic slashed demand for crude and petroleum products such as gasoline and jet fuel. Southside Independent School District's election has 3 candidates and 3 open seats on its board. But the decision on who will fill those seats is still up to the state. We have everything you need to know about the elections over at expressnews.com. Democrat Mike Collier came within 5 percentage points of Republican Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick in 2018 and is preparing to run against Patrick again in 2022. Take a closer look at what he says are the top issues in his campaign over at expressnews.com. NASA's Ingenuity helicopter, poised to take the first powered flight on Mars as soon as Thursday, is carrying a small piece of aviation history. Find out what that is over on our website. The small world of asset management, where companies make money investing the wealth of others to grow it even larger, has proved incredibly efficient at keeping outsiders at bay, according to business columnist Chris Tomlinson. There's really no explanation why Lisa and Chris Casillas' only child had a desire to romp in the backyard and pretend she was collecting artifacts. Nor was there a clue as to why she would smear berries on rocks as if painting the craggy wall of a prehistoric cave, splattering juice on her clothes, horrifying her mother. It wasn't until the 3rd year of studying for her undergraduate degree at the University of Texas at San Antonio that she would envision a career in archaeology. After a month of field school in Belize, Rihanna Ward fell in love with the study of human history, the nitty-gritty of uncovering untold stories, and underrepresented populations. Vincent T. Davis has her story over at expressnews.com. South Texas is swimming in plump and luscious strawberries right now, and like any fan of these tart and sugary delights, you want to keep them fresh longer. Fortunately, there's a well-tested way to stretch the life of your strawberries a week or more. Paul Stevens shows you the trick in his latest column. Author Walter Isaacson brings The Code Breaker, his biography of the Nobel Prize winner Jennifer Doudna, to the San Antonio Book Festival this week. The book charts the development of CRISPR-Cas9, the revolutionary gene editing tool. See who's dominating the high school sports competition with our recaps in the past week of track and field, softball, and baseball. The second winningest coach in Texas Longhorn history, Karen Aston, was hired to take the reins of the struggling Roadrunners women's basketball program. A homestand meant to boost the Spurs broke them instead. The road ahead gets no easier as their playoff hopes flicker. A 125-101 loss to the lowly Cleveland Cavaliers on Monday isn't helping the Spurs' cause. We have 3 takeaways from the ugly defeat over at expressnews.com. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing for Tuesday, April 6th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful day, everyone.